But before we start this video, I would like you to join Top Tennis Player Weekly Workout Plan now. Get Monday to Sunday Carlos Alcaraz workouts, plus his daily diet plan. Start today. Link below.
Carlos Alcaraz moves with a kind of explosive freedom that looks natural on the surface, but underneath it is built on very deliberate stress placed through his lower body when he trains his legs with a focus on strength and stability. He is not just building muscle, he is teaching his knees, ankles, and hips to handle pressure in the exact ways a match demands. Tennis is not a straight-line sport. It is constant braking, pushing, twisting, and re-accelerating. Without joints that can absorb and redirect force efficiently, even the fastest player becomes limited. The reason he places controlled pressure on those joints is simple. The court is unpredictable, and every rally asks a different question. One moment he is sliding wide to his forehand, the next he is planting hard to change direction, and then instantly rising upward into a shot. Each of those movements sends force up from the ground, through the ankle, into the knee, and finally into the hip. If any link in that chain is unstable, energy leaks out. That leak shows up as slower movement, weaker shots, or even injury. By consistently challenging those joints under load, he is strengthening the entire kinetic chain so that energy flows cleanly from the ground into the ball. Adaptability is not just about resisting movement. It is about owning every inch of it. When his ankle can stay firm, while his body is shifting laterally, he gains precision in his foot placement. When his knee can handle sudden deceleration without collapsing inward, he can stop faster and recover quicker. When his hip remains strong and aligned, it becomes a powerful engine that drives rotation. All of this translates directly into his ability to stay balanced, even when stretched to his limits. For his game, this matters because his style relies heavily on aggressive court positioning and sudden bursts of speed. He does not wait for points to come to him. He creates them by stepping in, by taking the ball early, by changing direction with intent. That kind of play demands confidence in the body. When a player knows their joints can handle stress, they commit fully to movement. There is no hesitation when chasing a drop shot or planting for a... That mental freedom is built on physical reliability. Another key benefit is durability across long matches and long seasons. The constant pounding on hard courts can wear down even elite athletes. By conditioning his knees, ankles, and hips to handle repeated stress, he reduces the risk of overload. Instead of joints absorbing shock in a fragile way, they become resilient structures that distribute force more evenly. This allows him to maintain high intensity deeper into matches, where many players begin to slow down or lose sharpness. It also enhances his shot quality in ways that are not immediately obvious. Power in tennis does not start in the arm, it starts from the ground. When he pushes off the court with strong, stable legs, he generates force that travels upward through his body and into the racket. A stable base means that force is not wasted. His forehand, for example, gains its heaviness because his lower body anchors the motion. His ability to hit on the run or from awkward positions comes from the same foundation. Even when off balance, his trained stability allows him to regain control quickly enough to produce clean contact. This is not about adding bulk, it is about refining how force travels through his body when he strikes the ball. Every shot in tennis begins from the ground, but it must pass cleanly through the torso and into the arm. If that chain is not stable and coordinated, power gets lost and control breaks down. The shoulder is at the center of this system. It is one of the most mobile joints in the body, but that mobility comes with risk. By working it under steady resistance, he strengthens the smaller stabilizing muscles that keep it aligned during high-speed swings. This allows him to accelerate the racket without losing control of the joint. When he serves or unloads on a forehand, the shoulder must rotate rapidly while staying centered. That balance between freedom and stability is what gives him both power and consistency. His core plays an equally important role, even in what looks like an arm-focused effort. The core is the bridge between the lower and upper body. When it is strong and responsive, it transfers energy efficiently from the legs into the arm. Resistance work forces his core to engage while his arms move, teaching his body to stay connected. This is why his shots look so fluid. There is no break between movement phases. Everything flows as one continuous action. The elbow, often overlooked, is critical for both control and durability. It absorbs a significant amount of stress, especially during repeated hitting. By strengthening the muscles around it, he reduces the strain placed directly on the joint. This not only helps prevent common issues, but also allows him to maintain precision over long rallies. A stable elbow means the racket face stays consistent through contact, which is essential for directing the ball under pressure. Then there is the wrist, a key element in modern tennis. It adds the final touch to many of his shots, especially when generating spin or adjusting to awkward positions. Training it with resistance improves both strength and responsiveness. This allows him to make subtle adjustments at the last moment, giving him an edge in unpredictable exchanges. Whether he is shaping a forehand or reacting quickly at the net, that wrist control becomes a decisive factor. What makes this kind of training so effective is how closely it mirrors the demands of the game. Instead of isolating muscles in a rigid way, it challenges them to work together while stabilizing against tension. This builds coordination as much as strength. His body learns not just to produce force, but to control it, redirect it, and sustain it over time. For his game, the impact is clear. His strokes carry both weight and accuracy. His serve maintains speed deep into matches, and his body holds up under the constant repetition of elite competition. The connection between his lower body and upper body becomes seamless, allowing him to hit with authority from almost any position on the court. For him, this kind of training builds access to positions that most players either avoid or cannot control. Tennis constantly forces the body into extremes, reaching late, adjusting mid-stride, striking while off balance, and without the ability to move freely into those ranges, performance becomes limited. Mobility gives him options, and in a sport built on reacting in fractions of a second, having more. One of the biggest reasons he prioritizes this work is to maintain the quality of movement when situations break down. Matches are rarely played in perfect balance, points stretch, rallies become chaotic, and the body is pulled in different directions repeatedly. If he can move fluidly without restriction, he stays composed in those moments. Instead of fighting against his own body, he flows through positions and recovers fast. That difference shows up in how effortlessly he transitions from defense to attack. It also sharpens how efficiently he uses energy. When the body moves well, it does not waste effort compensating for stiffness or limitation. Every action becomes cleaner. Over time, that efficiency adds up, especially in long matches. While others begin to tighten and lose sharpness, he can maintain the same level of movement without feeling as drained. It is not just about endurance, there is also a strong connection between mobility and timing. In tennis, being a fraction late or early can completely change the outcome of a shot. When his body can adjust smoothly in real time, he buys himself those extra milliseconds needed to find the right position. That adaptability is what allows him to handle unpredictable bounces, awkward spins, and sudden changes in pace. His body is not locked into one pattern, it adapts on the fly. Another key factor is how this type of work supports longevity. The demands of constant acceleration, deceleration, and rotation can gradually build tension in the body. If that tension is not managed, it limits movement and increases strain over time. By consistently working on mobility, he resets his body, keeping it responsive rather than restricted. This helps him handle the repeated demands of training and competition without breaking down. It also enhances the quality of his technical execution. When movement is unrestricted, technique becomes more natural. He does not have to force positions or compensate mid-action. Instead, his strokes develop from a place of freedom where the body can align properly without resistance. That is part of why his game looks so fluid. It is not just skill, it is a body that allows that skill to express itself. What makes his approach more advanced is how he layers difficulty into that process. By introducing balls with different weights, he forces his brain and body to adapt in real time. A heavier ball behaves differently through the air and off the bounce, while a lighter one demands quicker adjustment. This variation challenges his timing and perception, making his reactions more precise. Over time, this builds a system where his responses are not fixed, but flexible and adaptable. There is also a direct link to focus. When drills demand constant tracking and rapid decision making, his attention sharpens naturally. He cannot drift mentally because every moment requires input and response. This kind of training builds sustained concentration, which is critical during long rallies and high pressure points. It teaches him to stay locked in even when fatigue starts to build. The added resistance from varying ball weights also plays a subtle role in power development. It is not about brute force, but about how efficiently he applies force at the right moment. When he adjusts to a heavier ball, his body learns to engage more effectively through contact. That improved coordination carries over when he returns to standard conditions, allowing him to generate more pace without overexerting. Another important benefit is how this training improves his ability to handle unpredictability in real matches. No two shots are identical. Spins vary, opponents disguise intentions, and rallies evolve quickly. By constantly exposing himself to changing inputs, he becomes comfortable with uncertainty. His reactions become instinctive rather than calculated, which is crucial this also enhances his control under pressure. When the pace increases and points become chaotic, players often lose precision because their reactions fall behind the speed of the game. His coordination work keeps his responses sharp, allowing him to stay accurate even when rushed. That is why he can take the ball early, redirect pace, and still maintain consistency. In the end, this focus on eye-hand coordination is about syncing vision with action at the high. It ensures that what he sees is immediately translated into movement and contact. By combining visual training with variations in resistance, he is not just improving reaction time, he is building a more complete, responsive system. That system gives him the ability to stay ahead of the ball rather than constantly chasing it, which is a defining trait of his game.